What's it like feeling like you have to keep each foot in a different world? To be treated like a foreigner in a country you've grown up and lived in your entire life because you don't look the same as everybody else? What's it mean to be called half? Half of what exactly? In Japan, hafu refers to people born in Japan that are only half Japanese. But that word, half, carries such a derogatory meaning, letting you know right off the bat, you don't belong. But you can't be half of anything. There is no border on your body that divides which part of you is which race. You can only be all of you. The whole you. And that's exactly what Half is More looks to explore as we follow the lives of multiple hafu people from various backgrounds living day to day in a homogenous country like Japan. Their stories are based on real interviews and experiences gathered together by the mangaka Yoiko Fujimi, who herself is part Spanish. Now, quickly, I have to bring up the controversy online that this book has been stirring.
Oh shit, here we go again. Worst place in the world.
Most of the hate you'll see is just because there's a black girl on the cover with detractors calling it woke and not judging the book by its own merits. These types of people haven't read it and are probably never going to read it. They'd rather lack media literacy to own the libs.
Oh wait, I can't read.
I implore you to form your own opinion by the end of this video. With that out of the way, let's begin with the story of Kazumi Mandanda Yoneyama. Kazumi's mother is Japanese, while her father is a black Frenchman. All their lives, her and her brother Yuta have had to endure dirty looks and discrimination for their obvious black heritage. So much so that it drives Yuta to remove his father's last name, Mandanda, and he now only has his mother's, Yoneyama. Kazumi is shocked to hear him make such a drastic change to his identity, and Yuta tells her straight up, "You don't get it." He brings up a story from their childhood about a black fish living with a school of red fish. The black fish had to be faster, stronger, and prove its worth for the other fish to accept it. Yuta never wanted to be special. He just wants to be normal. He wanted to be a red fish. Kazumi doesn't get it because she was the black fish. She had to inflate her personality and be the butt of her own racial jokes just for everyone else to accept her. As Yuta's sister, she should know him better than anyone else. But she now realizes she never really knew him or the pain he went through at all. Afterwards, Kazumi meets up with Shibata for dinner, her best friend, who also assists Kazumi with her growing social media career as Manda, a persona she crafted who blogs about her adventures in Japan. The restaurant owner comments on how well Kazumi's Japanese is despite being a hafu, and asks if she knows English. She tries to brush it off and explains that she only speaks Japanese and that her dad is actually French. Pause. This is what's called a microaggression. If you're unfamiliar with that term, it's a small comment that can be made that is negative in nature, whether unintentional or not, to another person.
So, are you Chinese or Japanese?
Yes, the owner's remarks might seem innocent, but it's wrong for him to assume that Kazumi is less Japanese than him just because of how she looks. Oh, but it's just one guy, right? Now, imagine hearing that from someone else again, and again, and again, and having to explain yourself over and over eventually becomes unbearable. Kazumi has had to listen to those comments every day for her entire life. During their meal, Yuta comes up in their conversation, and Kazumi almost tells Shibata about his name change, but she ends up not letting it out and quickly changes the subject. She doesn't think Shibata would understand. Even though they're best friends, she still feels completely alone in this world. On their way out, another person compliments Kazumi's Japanese, and she has to explain herself all over again. Shibata tries to relate by saying she was always asked what country she was from when studying abroad. But it's just not the same when you're asked that same question in your own country. Later on, Kazumi gathers with her other hafu friends for drinks. There's Shiho, whose father is American, Saiko, whose mother is Chinese, and Rushia, whose mother is Filipino. Kazumi vents to them, wishing that Shibata could understand her struggles like they do. Her friends agree that she could never get it, and Kazumi feels like she'll have to cut her off from her life soon. At home, Kazumi puts on a face mask, not realizing it was a skin whitener. She debates posting it online to laugh it off until she remembers her brother's words about her being the blackfish. Shibata then hits her up and the two meet up at a convenience store. There, once again, Kazumi gets asked about her race by someone. She's finally at her breaking point now. When they get outside, Shibata tries to relate to Kazumi again, but Kazumi is just not having it anymore. Her feelings erupt in front of Shibata. She's never been denied an apartment or a job or had slurs hurled at her for the color of her skin. She doesn't understand, and she never will. Kazumi yells at her to go away and leave her alone. For good. Internally though, Kazumi knows it's not her fault. Kazumi doesn't know how to express her feelings. She's always swept it all under the rug just to fit in. She's been drowning her whole life, alone. But Shibata refuses to leave. She grabs her friend and embraces her. They go to a park where Kazumi cries for hours as she finally brings up her brother's name change. Shibata knows that she might never truly get Kazumi, but she's willing to keep trying for her sake. They're sisters, bonded not through blood, but through friendship. The next day, Kazumi hops on a train to visit her brother. Even if she might not understand him, she wants to give him her full support, like Shibata did for her. Chapter 2 covers Saiko's story. She's got it a little bit easier than the others. Being part Chinese, it's not obvious at first glance that she's a hafu. She avoids bringing it up to her clients at her beauty salon and passes herself off as fully Japanese. It's no surprise she does this. When she was a child, she was alienated by the other kids when they saw her mom speaking in broken Japanese. They said that because her mom is a foreigner, then she is too. Saiko never realized how different her mom was, since on the outside, she looked just like everyone else. But now that she's been discriminated against because of this, her whole world has flipped upside down. She rushes home and takes all her insecurities out on her mom, saying that she hates her and all the Chinese traditions their family follows. She alienates her mom and calls her a foreigner, just like the kids did to her. Saiko confides in her friends about the tumultuous relationship she has with her mom. Shiho brings up a time where she too let her feelings get the best of her, and she took it out on her own mom. It can be tough confiding in your parents over a struggle they don't have to face, especially when you feel split between two different worlds. Saiko returns home and immediately gets into an argument with her mom over their cultural differences. She makes a snide remark about her mom's Japanese and walks out for a smoke. Saiko knows she shouldn't be acting like this, but part of her wishes that her mom was just Japanese. She thinks back on the family gatherings with her mom's side and notes that her mom seemed happiest when she was speaking Mandarin to her family. The next day, Saiko does the hair of one of her clients, Marina. Their conversation goes well at first until Marina mentions seeing some Chinese people in town and makes remarks about how loud and obnoxious they always seem to be, not knowing that Saiko is part Chinese. Saiko tries to laugh it off, but inside she's being torn to pieces. She almost messes up Marina's hair coloring on accident until her coworker steps in and snaps her out of her funk. Once again, Saiko takes her anger out on her mom, but then something different happens. She starts speaking in Mandarin, something that her own mom didn't know she was learning. Saiko tells her that she's tired of pretending she's not different. She's tired of feeling like she has to keep some kind of dirty secret with her every day. She doesn't want to be like everyone else. The truth is, she wishes she could be the same as her mom. Little did Saiko know, her mom actually wished that she was the same as Saiko, so she could understand her daughter's pain living as a hafu. We're mother and daughter. We've always been the same, haven't we? At her next appointment, Saiko's able to casually bring up her mom being Chinese. She's now ready to accept herself, all of herself, not just a single part. Chapter 3 takes a different turn, following Marina Kamebuchi, the same girl that mentioned how loud Chinese people are to Saiko during the last chapter. She's shocked when she sees an Instagram post from Saiko that talks about her being part Chinese. She's suddenly flooded with a wave of embarrassment over how insensitive she must have been towards her. Marina talks about the conundrum to her friend Hinta, who says that she should just apologize. A simple solution, yes, but Marina can't stop wondering if she actually deserves to be forgiven for letting her prejudice get the better of her. She tries typing out multiple apology texts to Saiko, but deletes them each time before she can send them out. She's ruined her relationship with her. No wonder Saiko never brought up being Chinese. It's because of people like Marina that she hides that part of herself. Next day at work, Marina still can't stop thinking about it. She wishes Truck-kun would come and just put her out of her misery. And it's not just the inside of her that's in turmoil. Her hair is growing out and the color in it is fading. Her hair used to make her feel confident, but that's all washing away now. She can't bring herself to go back to Saiko after what happened. Marina meets up with Hinta and Hinta tells her that yes, she said something terrible, but that doesn't make her a terrible person. Hinta brings up that she's said terrible things across her life from time to time before. She talks about her sister Mami, and I think the implication here is that Mami has some kind of special needs. She mentions hearing other people mention that people like Mami might be better off not being alive, but she wonders that if she never had Mami in her life, would she too have said something just as terrible as that? In the end, we can only comprehend things within an arm's span of ourselves. Hinta convinces Marina to make things right with Saiko. Marina thinks back on her first appointment with Saiko and how she helped bring out a new side of her by dyeing her hair. And now all Marina seemed to do in return is make her feel small. This isn't something that can be resolved over text. She heads over to the salon to see Saiko and opens her mouth to right the wrong she allowed her ignorance to cause. Our next character we follow is Rushia Numata. Raised in a single-family home, it's presumed she doesn't have a good relationship with her father, given that he's not in the picture, and her mother never divulged the details on how the two of them met. Rushia works as a graphic designer, and she gets asked out by her coworker Kaku. But she declines. The wounds from her last relationship are still too fresh. One of their other coworkers pops up and says, while Rushina seems nice, Southeast Asian girls are too headstrong, and starts talking about his experience with an escort he paid for in Thailand, before he's told to shut up. Rushia takes out her frustrations by writing them in her notes and immediately deleting them afterwards. Her office gets the pictures late for a project they're working on for a celebrity's retirement party. And on top of that, one of the other employees has to leave early to pick up her daughter, leaving just Rushia and Kaku to crunch through the work. Things still feel a little awkward though between the two because of the rejection from earlier, but Rushia breaks the ice by asking Kaku why he started working there. There's not really any special reason, it was just the first place that hired him while he was job hunting. Relatable. He then recalls a time during a typhoon when he sought out refuge in a restaurant ran by an immigrant. As he ate the food, he wondered how many times he'd failed to notice people like that man that make the world go round. Rushia then asks Kaku what exactly it is about her that he likes so much. She then thinks back on her last relationship. It failed because his ex's mother refused to accept her, thinking that she was just after him for his money to send back to family in the Philippines. This devastated her and almost drove her to ending her own life. She snaps back to reality when Kagu stands up and says the best thing he likes about her are her graphic design skills. He believes the diligence she shows in her work reflects her own character. Then Rushia starts to wonder if she might actually be interested in dating Kaku. The two of them manage to get the project done in time and celebrate by going to grab something to eat. Over dinner, she already starts discussing the next project they need to do, while Kaku admires her dedication. Being the child of an immigrant, she feels like she needs to look forward to the next achievement to truly feel happy. She tells Kaku that maybe it's not too late to fall in love again. The final chapter revolves around Alexandra de la Rosa, a recent immigrant from the Philippines. We see that her school struggles to figure out a curriculum for her and another new immigrant student from Peru. The Japanese language teacher, Tanga, gets pretty much voluntold to figure something out. Back at her home, Alexandra gushes over her new baby sister. We see that she's still wary over her new Japanese stepdad, as he gives her dirty looks when she speaks Tagalog to her mom, and he even screamed at her once for not taking her shoes off in the house. She wants to figure out how to be more Japanese. Her first day of school is agony. She has no idea what her teacher is saying. Some of the other girls in class try to talk to her, but the only thing she knows how to say in Japanese is, "My name is Alexandra." The girls leave her alone once she goes silent. At the end of the school day, she and the other immigrant boy, Pablo, work on their Japanese with Tanga. He gives them some worksheets to do, and despite the tension feeling a bit awkward, he's determined to keep helping them improve in their Japanese. On their way home, the two students try to communicate with each other, struggling to do so with no common language between them except for very surface level Japanese. Pablo shows Alexandra a picture of a thong from a magazine to tell her that Tonga's name means thong in Spanish. Once she understands, she tells him in Japanese that Tonga also means stupid in Tagalog. The two giggle over their teacher's name, and as Alexandra heads home, tears flow from her eyes. She doesn't feel alone in this new world anymore. There is a lot to unpack here with this manga, and I'll also be putting a link to where you can buy it in the description below. The social issues presented in these stories aren't unique to just Japan. It can happen anywhere across the world. My parents are immigrants, and I've had plenty of friends that are as well. It's a struggle to adjust to a new culture while also wanting to hold on to what you're familiar with. And having a mixed family of my own, I understand how difficult it can be feeling like you're too much of one race for one side of the family and yet still too much of another race for the other side. It's an eternal game of tug-of-war that leaves you struggling with your own identity. But at the end of the day, you have to embrace who you are and not who other people say you should be. This manga's theme isn't just that racism is bad. There's so much nuance weaved in throughout it. It's able to peel back the layers to get to the root causes of the issues that the protagonists face in their day-to-day lives. And for the detractors, if your only intention is to hate what you don't understand, then look in the mirror and ask yourself if you're truly comfortable in your own skin before you take your insecurities out on someone that you think should be uncomfortable in theirs. Thanks for making it to the end. I'm really glad that you're here. I've been waiting to cover this manga since it was announced last year. And even if you think you can't relate to it, it's still worth checking out because it provides a pretty good lens on the folks that have to deal with these types of issues. With that being said, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content from me. I'm trying to get to 500 subs by the end of the month. Consider giving the video a like if you enjoyed it, and check out the video on screen. I hope you all have a great day and happy reading.